Welcome back to episode 3 of What's the Deal with Insert Elite Lifter and that particular lift that I really like about that lifter. Today's episode we are doing Meso Hassona's clean and we're doing his hang, touch and go / heaving hang clean also, because I think that's an interesting area we should touch on. Again, in this episode I was successful with badgering that elite lifter for some information about their clean so we can bring it to you guys and you can get something from that elite lifter and how they think about that. So part 2 of this video is a good half an hour good long interview with Meso where we go over lots of different aspects of his clean, some good general advice for weightlifting, but we tried to stick to his clean, so that's a great interview. It reiterated a lot of things we say in the channel, so I'm pretty happy about that, and I'm sure you'll note them when you watch that. So I'll leave a timestamp below if you want to skip ahead to that. However, I do recommend you watch this technical analysis. So as with all previous episodes, all 2, I will do just a technical analysis, a rundown of what makes Meso's clean so great, and more importantly, what you can learn from Meso's clean in the short and in the long term for your own lifting, and apply these principles to your lift and the clean in particular. Before we get to why Meso does these touch and go hang cleans, or what they would benefit from him, but also what you might benefit from those, and Meso goes through that himself in the interview, let's get to Meso's clean first and some of the better aspects of his clean that you could benefit from. Now, there's a lot of lifters out there like Gabriel or Anton, like the previous episodes we did, who have very, very athletic cleans, very, very dynamic. What I would describe Meso's clean is something that is very, very textbook. It is very, very precise. It's repeatable. And Meso is always in control of the bar. And that is something that struck me from the first time I saw Meso lift. I had the serendipity or the great chance of fate via a friend, Gregor from All Things Gym, put me in touch with the Uzbekistan National Federation when me and Dara and I were in Uzbekistan, and obviously I was in terrible shape. I had very bad diarrhea. I'd lost like 6 kilos from camping in the desert, and Gregor knew that. Well, I think Gregor was aware that I was very out of shape. I hadn't trained in like 6 weeks, and Gregor was like, bear in mind, for your own precaution or something, he said Meso Hassona might be there. So obviously I was like, fuck. So met Meso, Ibrahim, his father, the brother, great team there. So they were training. Meso started doing this complex in his warm-up in one of his sessions where he did a no-foot clean and then a touch and go above the knee hang power clean into a push press. Now he started working up to weights with like 155 kilos, and the control Meso had in his second and third pull, his third pull especially in the turnover, was something that I've never seen in a lifter since. It was so in control, it was so powerful, it was unbelievable. I was very, very impressed with his upper body strength and his upper body control and timing in the lift, and that was something that blew me away in all his clean and jerks. He did do a double at 205 kilos, and again, his turnover is something I believe is truly unmatched. And in most cases, for a lot of people, a lot of amateur intermediate lifters and non-professional lifters, the turnover is easily the weakest part of the lift, where people are the least in control and they are the least comfortable with. So for most lifters, when the barbell reaches the second pull, most lifters just simply end up falling underneath the barbell. The hands are turned over well below nipple height and the barbell crashes onto them, but due to the barbell's own momentum, it still reaches their chest more often than not. And then we're left with a clean that is crashy, it's slow, it's not repeatable, the lifter is not in control, and it is not a precise lift, whereas Meso is the exact opposite of this. So Meso's pull from the floor is something that I would describe as very textbook. It's very, very Russian, very, very Soviet-esque technique, and it's something I think is the most repeatable and the most useful thing for people to learn. Now, I'm not saying it's the best technique, but it's certainly the best technique for amateur and intermediate lifters to apply to their own lifting. So Meso's pull from the floor is that kind of typical S bar pat. Meso pulls that barbell back off the ground. His knees move away from him. The barbell travels up his thigh. Meso doesn't make a huge amount of contact, and that's something Meso touched on later, and it's something we've talked about before. Meso then gets under the barbell in a timely and efficient fashion. But the very, very important part of Meso's lift that he does that is better than a vast majority of lifters is Meso is still in a huge amount of control in that third pull. So you can see the third pull instead of the third pull, as Clarence hates when people make fun of him. It's kind of annoying too, but look. So Meso's third pull, he's hugely in control. His knuckles are down for the whole pull, and he's pulling that bar actively towards his chest, which is very, very impressive. Meso does this with weights. I think his best clean and jerk is 232 kilos, and that 232 kilo clean is phenomenal. So Meso applies these principles. He has a repeatable technique. His start position is consistent. He has a dynamic start. but he pauses off the ground for a second just before he pulls, so he ensures his back is very, very tight. And if you watch his lifting from behind or a 45-degree angle, you can see he really tightens in his upper back and his mid back. So he's in a very, very strong position. This allows for that repeatable aspect of his clean. So he gets in that position, everything's consistent. Interesting enough, this is something Gabriel advised me earlier in the year when I was asking about my clean. Gabriel said, look for a start position that is very, very consistent and repeatable. So something you can do every time. And obviously this makes huge amount of sense. So when you're in a scenario where you do something doesn't feel right, if you have a repeatable process, you can make minute changes via a scientific method essentially, and adjust your clean accordingly and figure out each aspect and figure out what feels better or worse. Whereas if you have a very aggressive dynamic clean, something like Ilielin for example, or the kind of Armenian start which we went over before, it can allow for a lot of different variables, which is not normally ideal unless you're an elite lifter with a lot of experience. So whereas with Meso, his start position allows for him to be consistent. He can go through that same process each time and he doesn't have to think through aspects. And then if he does have a problem area, he can easily adjust and correct that problem area. That's probably one of the main things you take away with this. Meso is consistent. He does the same thing each time. He follows that classic S-bar pat back towards him, which is another problem we see with a lot of lifters. And then his third pull is something that he is in a huge amount of control of. So I think they're the main things you need to take away from that. So consistent technique, I'll say it again, repeatable, and he can get that third pull in a great position. So then if we look at how does he get that third pull into a great position is the kind of Meso complex. Now, interestingly, completely randomly, I stumbled upon the first, definitely the earliest video we'll ever have of the touch and go hang power clean. It was from I think it was the 80s Polish weightlifting video, and there's a video of one of the lifters doing touch and go hang power cleans without letting go of the hook grip in that video, which I will play here.
Polish champion Henryk Stepak is demonstrating the same exercises above the knees.
I was chuffed to see that. Obviously, it's a common thing which a lot of lifters figure out through the course of their career. And this is one of those things that Meso does very, very well for his own cleans. So he uses this aggressively. He calls it hand speed, so his turnover speed, he says, feels slow sometimes. And this is where he uses this kind of touch and go, or I think as Zach likes to call it, a heaving hand clean, which is a good name for the kind of, it makes sense. It's kind of like it phonetically makes sense. It's like, that's how you would say that kind of clean, I suppose. So that touch and go hang clean he does from above the knee is unbelievable. He does it kind of no foot. I think if you're doing them, it's possible you might be better served using your feet or moving your feet slightly, but it's a very, very precise movement. So he does this complex. He also does this with full cleans up until, he said his best was 205 kilos, but he's done 200 for a clean plus 2 hang cleans, and they're all touch and go. It's definitely one of the most impressive non-full clean and jerks I've seen from any lifter ever to do that. The control he has over the barbell, the speed, the power, even the grip strength ability to hold onto the barbell and turn it over. 200 for 1 plus 2 is just unbelievable. Meso talks in an interview about wanting to do 220 kilos like this for a clean touch and go hang clean. It's phenomenal. So this complex Meso uses, and he goes through and he does the hang clean a lot, and he goes quite heavy with those. It's something that allows him to aggressively pursue this very, very strong second and a very, very strong and fast third pull. So this is something that a lot of people, lifters, do miss, is their inability to keep pulling on that barbell. A lot of times as well, you'll see lifters over pulling a barbell. So when a lifter has a good second pull or whatever, makes a lot of contact and then continues to pull that bar up high, so they either pull a bar, over pull the barbell, catch it high and ride it down, or lifters get under too fast without any active third pull or without still constantly pulling on that barbell as they get under. So we want a mesh of the two of those. So we want to be actively pulling the barbell up, but very, very importantly, getting underneath the barbell as fast as possible, which is one of the things I talked about in the no contact snatch and no contact clean video. Hang on, the WADA police are coming. I think they've invaded Sikistan. Let's give it in a second. They can't get into the fortress. It's okay. So a lot of people don't have that active third pull as they get under fast. So a lot of people either do one or the other. Ideally, probably getting under fast is better than the over pull. So a lot of times we'll see a very accentuated over pull in people who do CrossFit. So that's one where make too much contact, over pull the barbell. You'll see that lifter's torso is still up in the air. They're waiting for that barbell. There's a lot of barbell travel without any downward motion of the lifter's upper body or lower body, which is detrimental to heavy weights. And it is a skill that is very, very hard to learn. It's one of the things I talked about this year in improving my clean recently. My clean is probably the best it's ever been, and that is from really actively getting under as fast as possible. And that's actually from talking to Anton and thinking a little bit more about it. So this complex that Meso does, I would recommend that you try it with very, very, very light weights. I don't recommend you do the full heaving hang clean, so full reps. I think power cleans will work perfectly for you. Look for that getting under the barbell from different complexes or different movements like the no contact clean, or simply just practicing cleans and getting under faster. So I'd recommend if you do these kind of heaving hang cleans or heaving hang power cleans, preferably keep them really light. So like if your max is like 120 kilos or something, we're talking 5 or 6 sets of like 3 reps with 60 or 70 kilos with a hook grip is perfect to learn those. So do once or twice a week. I think it's very, very beneficial for a lot of people. A lot of lifters will turn the bar over way too early and have a lot of bar crash. I wouldn't do these very, very close to your competition period. So if you're starting a new block or rep of training, doing these for maybe 6 weeks, having definitive improvements and practicing these with a lot of volume rather than absolute weight for a period of time is the best way to go about this. While you're practicing these, it is very beneficial as well to apply those principles that make Meso's clean very, very useful. So repeatable start position, consistent same pull each time, very, very active third pull, and very fast underneath that barbell. So I hope that you kind of got this. Not as much kind of technical, I suppose, metrics in this episode. That's why I like Meso's clean for the general population, is because you don't need to worry about these metrics or percentage of body height the barbell is pulled to or speed getting under the barbell. Rather, these are things you can apply to your training and very, very simple principles and that you can figure out yourself. So please enjoy the interview with Meso. It is so beneficial. I'm very, very lucky that Meso gave us that much time. So it will help a lot if you like and comment on this video. That really, really helps the video. So leaving likes especially. So literally just clicking that thumbs up button if you like this at all really helps get that video out there. And the bigger and better these videos go, the more clout I will get for other lifters. Now, thankfully, the last 3 lifters, obviously Gabriel and Meso, are my friends, so I was able to get them. But they're obviously very, very busy. Meso's preparing for the Olympics soon. So, obviously, they have a lot on, so they don't have to do this. So the more people see this, the more people I can get to do this. I have my eye on someone next. I think I know who I can ask. I've been told Ruslan Nuruddinov has very, very good English. Someone commented that on the Gabriel video. So I might try and contact Ruslan or Victor Getz, because I really like Victor Getz clean. And I like his jerk as well, so we'll see about that. So again, the better these do, the more clout I get, and the more beneficial stuff you can get from this. I learned a lot from these. We talking to lifters, think about new principles, but it's something I talked about years ago in a podcast that I really like to do. So Fitz were talking, and someone said if we could do any scientific study of weightlifters, or what would we do if we had unlimited access. I said I'd really like to talk to loads of different individual lifters and figure out what's in their head before they're doing each lift. And I suppose this in a way is happening in this way, and it's something I really enjoy doing. So again, please like and comment. They're the 2 things that make a huge difference to this video. Just press that like button and comment on this. We don't ask for this for a lot of videos, so for this one it would mean a lot. A like and a comment and get that engagement going. The more views we get, the more elite lifters we can get, and get a catalogue of this and have something for a lot of people to benefit from. So I've learned so much. Some of the best stuff I've ever done for training was visiting places, visiting elite lifters and coaches and learning stuff from those and picking up things from them. So a lot of you don't have those opportunities. I'm incredibly lucky to have those chances, and hopefully we'll have more of them again. But a lot of people don't have the time and finances and kind of ways of getting there. So I feel like this is the next best thing, to listen to these elite lifters and figure out what it is about their lifts that make it work so well. So please enjoy. Don't forget the back squat masterclass is up on teachable.now. I'll leave a link below. 2 hours of a lecture on back squat, masterclass on it. People have told us they've gotten great use from it. We were confident of that from the start, but I'm glad people are really enjoying it. So click the link below and enjoy the interview. Meso, thank you for joining us again. So just today, we want to talk about just focus on your clean, because you have obviously a very, very strong clean. We've done one of these with Anton, so I got some translations with Anton, one with Gabriel Synchrane on his split jerk, And I think probably your best stand-up lift is your clean and the hang cleans. So just have a couple of questions about your clean, couple of different areas that we're going to get some information for, because it's great for beginner lifters, you know, to, or even intermediate lifters, to hear what you think about, and kind of gives them something to kind of, you know, think about for their own lifts.
Yeah.
So maybe we'll start there. So at the moment when you're doing clean and jerks, or just clean, sorry, is there anything you think about, like what's the cue in your head? What's the thought process? Do you think about anything at all?
So at the light weights, if you're thinking at the light weights, you just keep thinking how to move the bar in its right way. But when it gets heavy, you just need, like, you kind of don't think about how you lift. You just go for it.
Yeah. Is there anything at the lighter weights you're thinking about? Are you thinking about, you know, being fast or moving your knees back or anything like that? Or is it just good quality movement kind of?
All right. So I think it was the time I'm not thinking a lot about it right now, but at the beginning when we started doing that, I'm focusing on the cleans. So most of the time I'm thinking to keep the bar in its own line. So the bar has its own line, and which is go straight up. Your body moves around it. The second part we always think about that the explosion point, which is a lot of people doing it wrong. They just keep pushing the bar with their hips too much forward. So when the weights gets heavy, they start to jump forward,
Yeah.
or they start to miss it. They get in a wrong position in the clean. So many things happen with this mistake. So we always need to focus when the bar comes at the position, at the explosion point or the second ball, as
Yep.
we call it. It just like hit and go up. So I always think about that to not
Yeah.
give it too much power forward.
Yeah.
Of course, your position around the bar affects on that, because a lot of people go too much straight up. I see this mistake a lot. So many lifters, they just go straight up. At some point, when the bar at around your knee, you have
Yep.
to move your back a little bit up, so you give it space to go
Yep.
around your body. So many lifters do that wrong, so they just go all the way straight up. And when it comes to the explosion point, so
Yep.
he be like too much straight, so he will have to push it too much with his hips to get it to get the hand rotation, which is get him in a really wrong position. I really focus about that too much. um, as we said, the hand rotation is really, really important, how to be fast at it. If you want to go under the bar, there is some accessories I work on
Yep.
if I want to get this hand rotation right. I think you saw it on the internet. I always love to boost it. It's the
Yep.
hang bar cleans, the bar cleans helps a lot. So yeah, those things. Sorry. So those things that which is I focus the most on. But as I just told you, it was the repetitions and like how many times you have done it was the time it just gets stuck in your head, and you start to do it, automatically. You don't think about it so much. So when the weights gets heavy,
Yep.
when you get to like 90% or 100%, so you just all you need to focus on that to lift.
Perfect. So the Meso, the kind of the touch and go hang power clean, you mentioned the kind of Meso complex. When did you first start doing that? Was it something your brothers and your father did, or was it something you kind of came up by yourself?
We came up with it, but I think that was long ago. I love the hand cleans. We always love to do it, and especially this one where you just go down and like use your whole shoulder and like traps muscle to pull it back again without stopping there. It's gonna I love it. I love to do this accessory, and it's not easy to do. You need
No.
a really strong traps and a second ball to do it. And yeah, it's just lovely to do it, and I think it helps me a lot. So at some points before my competitions, I love to do it.
What's your record for that, for the power clean one and maybe the full clean one as well? Do you have the numbers?
The bar clean one, I did 205.
205. Or sorry,
Yeah.
but in the hang power clean, what's the heaviest you've gone with that?
All
Yeah.
right, the one I did this kind of 200.
Yeah, 200.
I think I boosted, yeah, 200. I boosted like twice
Yes,
before.
yes. Fuck.
Yeah.
And you have one as well where we saw you in Uzbekistan where you did kind of 3 hang power cleans, and then like a push press. What's the heaviest you've gone with that one? 170, 180 maybe?
I think, yeah, that was my heaviest one.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's probably the
that
most
was my
impressive.
heaviest one.
Do you think?
I'm working for 220 those days. I want to do 220.
Yes,
One clean and one hand clean. I think will be massive.
unbelievable.
Like, I
No,
guess no one can beat that.
no way, and no straps as well. So you do it all with hook grip as well, which is
Yeah.
so impressive. So you've done two. Have you done 210 for the clean hang clean? Or
No,
205?
the
Oh,
best,
205.
yeah,
Yeah.
205.
Okay. Do you think it's a good lift for beginners, intermediates to do, or do you think you should wait until you're a little bit more confident with the lift before attempting that kind of complex?
So it's a good accessories for everyone. It works a lot of muscles.
Yeah.
But as we always say, each lifter has his own weakness, and like if you have this part stronger, you don't need to do it. It's good. It makes you stronger at the second ball. It makes your hand rotation is really fast because you have to think, think fast to just pull it back and go under the bar. So for me, I think it's really, really helpful.
Yeah.
But for you, as we always say, all lifters are different. Some people just need a different thing to work on,
Yeah. On that subject, do you have any advice for beginners who are doing cleans? Any kind of things that you found when you were learning the clean that you found made a big difference, or anything other? So you mentioned some of the technique mistakes, but is there
Yeah.
anything else that you think matter for beginner lifters that you see making a lot of mistakes?
All right. So this is like a general advice for all the
Yep.
beginners who start to do weightlifting in general, not just clean and jerk. It's rushing, and I think it's one of the most mistakes they do when they start to do some lifting, and they start to rush to go heavy or to increase the weight, and especially if you have a wrong technique or something. Uh, as much as you keep doing this wrong technique, it will stuck in your head, and it needs the double of the time to fix it. So don't rush. Make sure that you have the right coach to give you the right technique. Repetition will help you to get it in your head and just keep doing it. So with the time, you don't need to think about it too much.
Yeah.
Because this problem I had fallen at it one day before, which is I had a really wrong mistake in the snatches, which is I bent my knees. Sorry, not my knees, my elbows, and because I've done it like for quite a long time, and it took me really forever to fix it. It took me
Yeah.
a lot. So make sure you have the right the right coach to give you this right techniques. We have mentioned some of it. Of course, as we just mentioned, the elbow band is the most dangerous one, as we see. It stops you as a lifter from reaching a high level.
Yeah.
The position in the bar. One another mistake a lot of athletes or a lot of beginners do, which is they compare themselves and their techniques to another lifters, like
Yes.
another great lifters, and they're trying to do the same thing, which is not what fits with them. It wouldn't fit to you. So try to find your own way, your own style, your own position on the bar, your own pull, everything your own.
Yep.
That's really, really important to focus on. I think that's all about the clean and jerk to talk about. And strong legs, of course, never
Yes.
escape it. It helps a lot if you have if you have your strong legs. It will save you cleans and save you power for the jerk.
That was actually a question. So your best front squat is 270 kilos, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So do
270. I just hit 250 yesterday, and it feels like I can do 280 today.
Yeah. Will you try 280 before the Olympics, you think? Do you need to do it?
Never. I never. I don't need to do it, but it makes me feel good if I did it.
Yes.
So I have enough power to make me lift whatever I want in the Olympics, either 232 or even more. Even if I want to lift 240, I still can get it. But as I told you, I don't have to rush. Nobody has to rush. Like for me, I don't have to rush about lifting much heavy. I do have what is enough for me for the Olympics. So I want to lift more, but as long as I'm feeling safe, my joints are really good, don't have any injuries, I'll keep going. Maybe I don't mind to do 290,
Yeah.
but yeah, just like don't go. I don't want to go for heavy lift and end up with an injury or not even feeling comfortable about any pains in my body.
Yeah. Will you go much heavier than 250, do you think? Or you just take it how it goes and see how training goes, and if you feel good, you might go for that heavier lift?
I think yeah, I want to hit at least 260.
Yeah.
Yeah, 260 is really good. 30 kilos, sorry, 20 kilos above my left.
Yeah.
I I'm talking about 240. I want to do 240.
Yes. Actually, so
It's
if you maxed your clean right now, what do you think you'd hit? So just clean, no jerk. So just went for a heavy clean. What do you think you'd end up hitting?
right now at the moment was my shape right now. I think I can clean 235.
Okay,
I
nice.
can.
Do you think there's anything you're clean right now that you need to work on other than just obviously practicing heavier cleans? But is there any portion of your clean that you think you need to kind of bring up?
All right. So as I told you, my program. I think you've been with us and saw how our program goes.
Yeah.
So we don't have a program that we follow that I do like this before this competition and like that and like this. So our program always flexible and always change. So it depends
Yeah.
about my situation and how I feel and so like I do different. I think I did difference before every competition I've been to. So sometimes my legs not feeling good, so I don't focus at the clean and jerk at all, and just keep working on it. Some competition I need to work more on the balls. My ball just my balls feels like a bit heavy, so I work on it. Um, those today, like at this time before the Olympics, what I feel right now, it's my hand rotation is a bit slow.
Okay.
So that's what I'm working on right now. Getting under the bar. We've been doing clean and jerk yesterday, and it was easy. But for me, the
Yeah.
weights have a feeling uh, on me in my head, and it felt my hand rotation and the way it got under the bar. It's not that fast, so that's what I'm working on these days. Uh,
It
yeah.
Will you do more hand cleans for that, or will you just literally think about trying to turn over the bar faster? Is there anything in particular?
Uh, yeah, I think about it as you said, just get under the bar faster, and I do hand cleans. There's a different accessories I love to do too, like some clean balls from the blocks, maybe clean balls, and just like don't go down. I don't know how to say that. I hang it up here. I
Yes.
just keep doing it with my traps. I don't know how
Oh,
we
okay.
call this, but yeah,
Yeah.
it makes it also a bit quicker. My favorite, as you just said, hand cleans is what makes it really good.
So we've got your hand cleans, which you use a lot, and that's great.
Mm.
So for clean pulls, do you think they're important for your clean? Do you feel like your clean feels weaker if you don't do a lot of clean pulls? Do you think it's an important thing that you keep in your training?
Yeah. They really kind of important. The clean goals really really important. Uh, for many things, I think just to make the your goals more easier,
Yeah.
and sometimes we love to go a bit heavier than what we want to, like 20 kilos heavier. So when you go to your number or less than it, like 10 kilos or 5 kilos, you feel the way it moves,
Yeah.
more faster. You feel it like a bit easier.
Yeah. Is there any other accessories that you like doing? So is there any kind of like, smaller like muscle building movements that you do for the clean? Anything that you feel helps with your clean, pull-ups or maybe RDLs or something like that?
Um, Not really. I think that's all for the cleans. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah,
that's
just
all.
for okay.
For the jerks, we just do. If my jerk's not feeling really good, I'm not a really big fan of doing jerk from stand or blocks. So
Yeah.
usually just we do like some push press. So yeah, as we always work, we just work on muscles separately.
Yeah.
So wherever I feel I'm weak at, we just work on it and then we continue doing the movement, which is I guess you got it.
Yeah.
Like if I'm feeling my upper body is weak, so then we just get it strong, and then we start to try with the new muscle we gained. The
Yep.
same thing with the cleans. If I'm feeling some kind of weakness at the first ball or second ball, we just work on it, and we move to a different one. See how's it like all getting stronger, and then we do the
Yep.
cleans. But see, yeah, so far this is my favorite accessories that I work on the most.
Yep.
Sometimes we do work like what? Oh, yeah, all right. So those cleans, we just you do one clean
Mm-hmm.
and you just do like squats. We do that sometimes.
Yep.
Not really often, but it's really helpful too. So like one clean, one squat, and then you do jerk. It's really good for you breathe, and like it gives you that enough enough power that at the competition, if you did one clean and just like the weights didn't get in the right position, you got a little bit left to right, so you still have the power to fix the bar and stand up and jerk. We do that too. It's really good. But yeah, that's all.
Perfect. You used to do, was it kind of like a deficit stiff-legged deadlifts? Do you do that anymore?
No,
No.
no.
You were pretty strong at that though, weren't you? You were doing like
I
200
think I
kilos.
think yeah.
Yeah, there was no
Uh,
need.
yeah.
How did you learn to do the cleans? So when you were just starting out, so baby Meso, how did your dad teach you to clean? Was it just literally practice cleans, or was there any kind of complexes you did a lot or anything like that?
So how did I learn the clean?
Yeah.
So my dad way to teach the clean, it's just to do it upside down, so you don't get it from the floor up. So you just
Yeah.
stand, uh, just from standing, and just you start to move your shoulder and go under the bar, and then you go a little bit down, a bit down, a bit down, and then we start to put the high blocks. And then we take like one plate or one of it, make it a little bit shorter, and then we go until we go to the floor. Uh, this is really we love. My dad loved to do it this way. We love to do it this way because as we just said at the beginning, it makes the bar goes in line. You don't go out of it.
Yeah.
Because as a beginner, you don't have the movement in your head, and if you start to teach them from the
Yeah.
ground to do the clean, you start to see these crazy things. The bar is going
Yeah.
really forward, really back, and
Yeah.
yeah, and if it got stuck in someone's head of this beginners, it's really problem to get it out.
So you mentioned block cleans there. You did a little bit of block cleans, I think, was it last year, but that was just kind of for fun, was it? Do you think they
Yeah.
add anything to your lifts, or did you find any benefit from doing the block cleans?
Uh, they did help, but like it's not really like as you just said, I'm not doing it often. So when we did it there, it was just fun. I did 200
Yeah.
doubles, so I think I'm good at it. I don't need to work really more on it. So
Yeah.
I think yeah, it's the cleans from the ball is also about the second ball and the explosion point,
Yeah.
which is when I tried to do it. It was really fine. I didn't feel like much different at doing it. So yeah, we just start to focus on something else. But it was fun. I love it.
Yeah. You might go maybe, if you max that, do you think you'd hit much more than your max clean, or do you think it'd be kind of similar?
I don't think no. I
Yeah.
think no. I think it would be like 210, maybe
Okay.
215, but not
Yeah.
not over 230. It's hard.
Yeah.
This position is really hard for the cleans. For the snatches, yeah, you could do more from the blocks,
Yeah.
but cleans, I don't know. I never tried to be honest, but
Yeah.
I think yeah, it would be hard.
So a couple of years ago, when I think it was in 2019, when me and Dara came visit you, you were really focusing on your upper body strengths. You're doing a lot of upper body. Did you find that had any positive impacts on your cleans? Did you notice any difference?
Yeah, yeah, a big difference in the cleans. So I think at this time we were working when you were in Qatar, we were working on the upper body, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, it did help. So all the muscle that we've been working to, I think it helped me more at the snatches. That's why we were focusing at
Okay.
to get the snatches better. But of course, it did help with the clean and jerks too.
Yeah.
Um, even though we still haven't hit really big numbers from 2019, but
Yeah.
still the weight feels much better.
Yeah. And you look better, of course, as well. Which is very
Yeah.
important. Yeah.
Yeah.
Meso, I think. Oh, I have actually a question for you. So your clean is very different to everyone else in your weight class. Do you think that's just how you've gone about it? Or that's because, do you think there's any reason why your clean is kind of different to everyone else's, or is it just because of you as the lifter? That's how you develop to do it. It's a very strong clean compared to, lots of other
Yeah.
cleans on the international stage.
I would say probably it's because I worked more on it, so that's why it's
Mm.
better. And I love the cleans much more. So maybe
Yeah.
yeah, like cleans when I have the cleans day, I just go there like super excited, super happy. I worked probably the doubles than I do on the snatches. So I
Yeah.
think yeah, because I worked harder on it, I focus more on it. I always think about cleans and like what I'm gonna do in the next session and how can
Yeah.
I hit like something better or more. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think that's the reason.
It's kind of your favorite lift.
Yeah.
Miso, I think that's everything. I think that's some great information. Any last bit of advice for anyone watching who's struggling with cleans at the moment? Any last chance advice for them if they're having a hard time learning how to clean or a hard time hitting a new PB in their clean?
So all right, so this is another advice, which is I think it's really one of the most important in not just in clean and jerk in weightlifting. So sometimes hitting a BR, it's not a problem about uh, hitting a BR. It's not a problem about your strength. It's just a mental block,
Yeah.
uh, which is I say it's we saw that a lot more than used strengths. It's just a mental block. You're just afraid of one of the numbers, which is it's really normal and happens.
Yeah.
You need to learn how to get it. Um, this is would be my advice for it.
Yeah.
Keep feelings of the weights in your head. So what I mean of that, I'm trying to explain. It's really really hard. All right, so usually if you stuck with a number or want to hit a number, few days away from that, or few sessions. Let's talk about the cleans. Few clean jerk sessions before it. Bought a numbers on the 80%, the 85, the 90. Bought a
Yep.
feeling of it in your head. So this is how it felt on my body. This is how it felt on my head. This
Yep.
is how I cleaned it. Just focus on all of that. And that session, when you go, or the day you plan that you're gonna max out, see how's it compare your lefts, not the max one. I mean, like the 80%, the 90%, the 85. Compare it um, was the one that you made a few sessions before, and
Mm.
feels different in your body. You feels different in your head, and then when you go to the max out, it will makes you feel that you're getting better or like you can do it.
Yeah.
I think yeah, this is really important. The mental part sometimes is really important than the strength sports. And of course, as we just said, like the technique part, because
Yeah.
if you have some mistakes, you need to work on, because it could make a really really big difference. We see that a lot in competitions, and like of course in the gyms. If you go around, some lifters do like a really really easy lift, and just they add 1 or 2 kilos, and they start to miss
Yes.
really 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 bad. So
Yeah.
it's don't worry, it's just uh some mistake in the techniques. You
Yeah.
need to work in it. And yeah, that's it. So technique, don't rush, mental part, those
Yeah.
three work at, and you're gonna be great. I'm
Yeah.
gonna see you at one of the world champion competition.
Hopefully.